At the World Economic Forum in Davos this year, there was really only one question on everyone's mind. Is AI going to lead us to this amazing, abundant future, or is it going to lead to mass unemployment and just, well, chaos? The whole debate has really split into two completely different and pretty powerful visions of what's coming next.
So how do we even begin to make sense of all this? Well, here's what we're going to do. First, we'll break down those two big competing visions for the future. We're going to look at the promise of abundance and then the flip side, the peril of massive job displacement. After that, we've got a really surprising story, a real-world clue from a tiny island that might just hold a key. And then we'll wrap it all up with the billion-dollar question, or maybe trillion-dollar question. How are we actually going to pay for this future?
All right, so let's get into it. The whole conversation around AI's impact on our lives, on our jobs, it's become completely polarized. Honestly, it feels like we're being asked to choose between two different sci-fi movies.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got the tech optimists painting this incredible picture of a Star Trek future, right? A world full of abundance, where tech solves all our big problems and we're all free to just create. But then on the other hand, you've got these serious financial leaders sounding the alarm bell, warning about a Blade Runner future, one with huge inequality and social unrest, all driven by automation. It's a pretty stark choice.
So let's start with the good news, the utopian view. The argument from the biggest optimists in the tech world is basically this. AI isn't something we should be afraid of. No, they say, it's the single greatest engine for progress humanity has ever built.
Elon Musk, for example, paints a really vivid picture of this. He's talking about a future where AI and robots completely wipe out poverty and create a super high standard of living for literally everyone. I mean, just imagine it. A world where all your basic needs are just met. That would free us all up to pursue creativity, bigger ideas, you name it.
And Bill Gates is pretty much on the same page. His whole take is that the huge boost we're going to see in economic productivity, well, that's a massive win for humanity, period. Now, he's not naive. He admits there will be challenges along the way, but he sees them as solvable problems. Just hurdles to clear on the path to something better, not some kind of catastrophic end of the world.
Okay, but for every one of those optimists, there's a really powerful voice on the other side saying, hang on a second, we are not ready for this. They're warning that the speed and the sheer scale of the disruption that's coming is something we've never seen before. They're not talking about hurdles. They're talking about a tsunami. Take Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Chase. He didn't mince words at all. When he was asked if AI would mean fewer jobs in the next 5 years, his answer was just a straight-up, unequivocal yes. He made it crystal clear. Job losses are coming, and they're coming fast. And he warned that if we don't see this massive coordinated effort to retrain people, we're risking some serious social backlash.
And this isn't just some vague threat either. It's getting really specific. For instance, the CEO of the AI company Anthropic warned that as AI becomes more, agentic, meaning it can act on its own, it could just erase up to half of all junior white-collar jobs. And we're talking about the very jobs that have always been that first step on the career ladder for millions of people.
So, where does that leave us? We've got these two incredibly powerful, totally conflicting visions, right? Utopia versus dystopia. It feels like an impossible choice. But what if I told you there's a real-world example out there right now that might offer a third way forward? And, weirdly enough, we find it on this tiny Caribbean island with only 15,000 people. They've accidentally stumbled onto what could be a blueprint for the future.
Okay, so get this. Way back in the early days of the internet, some bureaucratic body was handing out 2-letter domain codes to every country. The UK got .uk, Germany got .de, you get the idea. And by just a total stroke of luck, the tiny island of Anguilla was given .ai. At the time, it meant absolutely nothing. Today, it's basically digital gold.
So when the AI revolution just completely exploded, suddenly every tech company on the planet was scrambling to get a website ending in .ai. And here's the kicker. For every single one of those registrations, a fee went straight to the government of Anguilla. In 2023 alone, that revenue hit a staggering $32 million.
But wait, it gets crazier. That was just the beginning. The growth has been absolutely explosive. That number more than doubled to over $70 million just 2 years later. I mean, the pace is just incredible. And to give you a sense of what that actually means for them, this digital gold rush went from funding about 1/5 of the entire government's budget to being on track to fund nearly half of everything the government does. And that happened in just a couple of years.
And looking at the numbers, it's clear this isn't just some one-time fluke.
It's a real, sustained economic engine. We're seeing what looks like exponential growth here. Both the revenue and the number of domain registrations are just climbing like crazy, blowing past the 1 million domain mark in early 2026.
And you know what's really great? They're putting that money to good use. It's not just piling up in some bank account. No, it's funding things that matter. Expanding the airport, fixing roads, providing tax relief for their citizens, and boosting healthcare services. And on top of all that, they're being really smart about it, building a sovereign wealth fund to make sure they're stable for the long haul.
Okay, so this brings us right back to that huge question we started with. If AI is going to displace a lot of jobs, how do we support people? Anguilla's story, this crazy accidental experiment, gives us a really fascinating clue. What if we could fund our society not just by taxing people's paychecks, but by tapping into the massive wealth being generated by the AI economy itself?
And this is where a big idea starts to enter the picture. Universal Basic Income, or UBI for short. The concept is pretty simple, actually. It's a system where every single citizen gets a regular, guaranteed payment from the government. Think of it like a financial safety net, a floor that no one can fall below, especially in a really uncertain economy.
Now, this isn't some fringe idea from the sidelines. The people right at the heart of the AI revolution, guys like OpenAI's co-founder Sam Altman, are actually pushing for it. His argument is pretty straightforward. AI is going to create a phenomenal amount of new wealth. So we need to change our system to tax that wealth and then give it directly back to everybody.
So you see, a potential roadmap is starting to take shape here. Step 1, you figure out how to generate revenue directly from the AI economy. Maybe that's through taxes like Gates and Altman suggest, or maybe it's by monetizing digital assets, just like Anguilla did. Step 2, you use that money to fund social safety nets like UBI. Step 3, you reinvest in people, helping them reskill for the jobs of the future. And Step 4, and this is crucial, you build strong rules and governance to make sure this whole thing is managed safely and ethically.
And look, we need to start thinking about a plan like this now, because this is all becoming incredibly urgent. The technology is not waiting for us. We are moving so fast from AI that just answers our questions to agentic AI that can actually do things on its own. We're talking about AI that can book your flights, manage your finances, even run entire projects all by itself.
So this all leaves us with one final and really critical question. The technology itself, it's neutral. It's just a tool. Whether it ends up building that utopia or that dystopia depends completely on the choices we make, the rules we design, and the vision we choose to follow. AI is learning to act at a speed we can barely comprehend. So the real question isn't about whether the technology is ready, it's about whether we are ready to lead.